A jam-packed week on The Bachelorette. Katie outlaws masturbating. Justin and Connor both get one-on-one dates. A very awkward group date. A canceled rose ceremony, or pardon me, cocktail party. And Katie sends home almost half the house. For how deep we are in the season, I was thinking we were going to see two, maybe three guys sent home, but instead, Katie sends home five to leave us with seven remaining at the end of the week. Absolutely incredible. So, first off, I don't understand this. Somehow, Katie's got wind that the guys are masturbating a lot and wants to quash it. It's just such a weird thing to me. Like why? What? Just let their guys. Just let them do their thing. It's not that big of a deal. So they spend a couple extra minutes in the shower. Just let it happen. Just a whole awkward thing. And I think they did the entire thing just so we could have that shot where Blake closed the door on his room and then the sprinkler came up and started shooting water everywhere. All right, let's jump into our first date of the week, and that goes to Justin. He is somebody who's kind of been in the background all season long, and when I saw he had a one-on-one, I was immediately thinking, uh-oh, he's not getting a rose. This is not going to go well. And wow, was I ever wrong. That was one of the best dates we've seen all season long. They had a pretty fun activity, but also had some serious elements that I felt Justin handled very well. You know, we really haven't learned too much about him this season. You know, the high points for him have been all of his facial expressions throughout all the various events this season, and to actually see him get some quality time with Katie, them really grow close together, kind of warmed my heart. You know, one serious part of this date was at the dinner portion where Katie opened up about how she got a little emotional during the day because it was bringing back memories of her father and finding out that her father was not her biological dad, and then struggling with trying to build a relationship with her biological father. It was kind of a touching moment, and really, as we get to know Katie more and more, I like her even more than I did. You know, even 1 week ago, and especially like since the start of the season, and I was definitely on the Katie bandwagon right out of the gate. So Justin gets the rose on his date, and all of a sudden he's a contender, especially when you look at only 7 people remaining. One of those 7 is Brendan, who really has had no screen time. So really 6 guys remaining. We already have some rumors and speculation about two of the other guys possibly self-eliminating. That puts Justin in the final 4. That puts Justin in hometowns. And a week ago, I would have never thought that I would be having that line of thought. So good for Justin, and we could be seeing quite a bit more of him as the season progresses. All right, let's switch over to our group date. One thing I just want to say before we jump into the group date is every time I see Michael A. on the screen, I just want to give that man a hug. He just looks like the softest, most gentlest, nicest person they've ever had on this series. And I just want to reach through my TV screen and give him an enormous hug. All right, that out of the way, let's get into this really bad, really awkward date. So we get some drag queens coming out, and I absolutely loved that Michael was immediately all in for getting himself totally into drag. He was just like, yep, I'm doing it. I'm all in. And absolutely love that. You know, you look around the room to guys, especially like Blake sticks out. he was a little awkward the moment the drag queens walked in, but not Michael. He was ready to roll, and I absolutely loved that. They start setting this date up, the queens, Monet and Shay. They start setting the date up that it's going to be some sort of throwing shade, and then all of a sudden it's a debate, and then all of a sudden no one tells a joke the entire time, and it's just awkward and terrible. A lot of guys tried to use that platform to go after Hunter, and I was expecting it, but it really just felt awkward. And most of those guys who took that route, well, they didn't get roses at the end of the night tonight, and gave us a very, very unsatisfying date. Absolutely zero jokes told. Hunter, we got to see that he really just views this as a game. He's still viewing this as winning Katie, beating out the other guys, and not falling in love, not finding his person. None of that. He's just viewing this as a game, and the other guys are just not having it any longer. At the evening portion, which did get cut short, we did get to see some time with a few of the guys. Katie, she said that she's falling for Greg. We learned that Blake is very horny. And then we had James still going after Hunter, Trey still going after Hunter, Aaron still going after Hunter. And does anybody want to tell me what happened to those three guys at the end of the night? Really, I'm watching that scene and I'm just thinking to myself, these are all guys who just have no real shot. They're just kind of grasping for straws, and as much as they want to say they're looking out for Katie, ultimately they're looking out for themselves, and they're playing the game just as much as Hunter is. After all that, Katie ends up getting physically sick after talking to Hunter. She's so torn up about the situation, comes back, ends the date, no rose handed out. And I really felt bad for Brendan, Michael A, and Michael P, because they got no time. And I really would have appreciated it if Katie would have made that time up with those guys at some other point. Like, instead of having the cocktail party at the end, why not spend 10-15 minutes with each of those three guys before heading into that rose ceremony? And I think that everybody would have felt all right with that situation. All right, our next one-on-one, and this time it goes to Connor. He was a strong front runner right out of the gate, who has slowly just faded as time goes on. And you knew this one was going to end badly when the production immediately cuts to his suitcase as Connor's heading out for the first portion of the date. This date just felt really weird to me. Connor finally gets his one-on-one time. What does he do? Goes on a double date with Caitlin and Jason. It's like, how are you going to make things so that they're not romantic? Yeah, spend your one-on-one time with the host and her guy. That's perfect. That's the ideal situation. They do have fun on the first part of the date. They share their kiss, which everything had been building up towards, only to transition over to the night portion where Katie is not ready for a date, knocks on Connor's door and goes in and breaks up with him. And then we get to watch Connor consoling the person who just broke his heart. Really felt bad for him. And then to compound onto that, watching Connor go back to say goodbye to all of the guys and see how torn up they were, how heartbroken all the guys were, was pretty hard to watch. After Connor goes home, we get to cut back to Katie, who is still very emotional in her suite. And then Blake shows up. Blake shows up and really just totally turns Katie's mood around, really shows that he is an absolute front runner to win Katie's heart, there I am. I'm saying win now, to fall in love with Katie, to get engaged with her, because immediately you saw her attitude just completely 180 the moment Blake turned up. And that has to be a fantastic sign for Blake, who all of a sudden, after all this other speculation that has risen to the surface, has suddenly become like the number one option for Katie's heart. And that's not something I would have expected when we first saw him join this season. Jump over to the cocktail party. Katie immediately cancels it and says, let's go straight to the rose ceremony. And when they lifted that cloth to reveal 6 roses, I was shocked. Like, I was not ready for 4 more people to go home. But in the end, that is what happened. We had a brief moment where Katie pulled Hunter to have a conversation with him, and then he comes back in with no rose, and that's when you knew that his fate was sealed. So now that leaves us with our top 7. Justin, Blake, Andrew, Greg, Michael, Mike, and Brendan. That is incredible. We sent home Connor, Hunter, Aaron, Trey, and James this week. 5 go home, 7 stay. And I think you very easily could have seen Brendan gone home as well. That whole drama group, the whole group that was stirring up the drama, all gone. We have seen Katie squash all these things very quickly this season, and the Hunter situation was no exception. And she took it a step further this time by eliminating all components of the drama so that we can really focus on her love story and her journey to find her person. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap things up for me tonight. Absolutely incredible episode. So much went down. Can't wait for next week. And a little bit of good news for everybody. I'll hopefully have a haircut before then, so maybe I won't be looking so scraggly. As always, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And until next time, we'll see you later.